Welcome to News with a View, a Fat Cat production. Fat Cat with the cat spelled with a K. And we'll put a font up there in a little bit. This is episode 85. It's June 22nd. And what a day it is, right, folks? Sunday. I am doing a live show right now. I am going to do a live show this evening from 7 to 8 p.m. rehashing the week. And it's just going to be rehashing all my opinions, which is really all that really matters, right? All right, before I get started, hello Danielle, Paul, Chris, Rowan, and Cannoli. I usually save that for the end of the show, and I don't know if they're really watching. So, all right, big news last night. U.S. enters Iranian-Israeli war. Now, there are a lot of people, Democrats, lining up to attack President Trump's actions, saying that since this was already a declared war, which it really wasn't, Iran nor Israel ever said it's a war. We all classified it. I classify it as a war. Senator Chris Van Hollen, Democrat, Maryland. Are we surprised? Uh, Accused Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of long seeking to drag the United States into the conflict with Iran. Well, Senator, we've been at war with Iran since 1979. The fact that we're spending $1 billion a day with our military over there shooting missiles that are being shot at our allies in the region. Yeah, you guys hate that. You guys hate that. And we've intercepted things from Hutus going towards Saudi Arabia. Yeah, you forget that, right, Senator? Um, what they all forget is when Obama sent our military into our allies' backyard in Pakistan and carried out a mission where civilians were killed. Not a word. They lined up behind the president, as did most Americans, and go, job well done. No one said anything about the War Power Act back then. No one said that he exceeded his authority. No one complained that he did not inform Republican leadership of the action before it was taking place, which is the privilege of the president. So, the Maryland Democrat who sits on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, which he should be tossed off of, was asked during a CNN appearance Friday about the comment he made this week that Netanyahu had outsmarted Trump on Iran. So, and he said, well, of course, anyone can mislead Donald Trump. You know, yes, Donald Trump, bad. Orange man, bad. And he said, Netanyahu was a big cheerleader for the war in Iraq, and many believed that would be a cakewalk. How did that work out? Well, it was a cakewalk. Deposing him, winning the peace, yeah. But you know what? We got rid of them. And of course, AOC said this is grounds for impeachment. On Saturday night, the president's decision to strike 3 of Iran's nuclear sites is ground for impeachment, becoming one of the first elected Democrats to back the constitutional punishment after the attack in the Middle East. AOC argued that by striking the Iranian nuclear facilities without authorization from lawmakers on Capitol Hill, the president breached the Constitution and Congressional War Powers Act. Stick to mixing drinks, sweetheart, because you're not even close on being correct on the subject. The president has the legal grounds, and again, this will all be used against the Democrats come 2026. I can't wait. But at least 2 House Republicans were, however, critical of Trump's strike. I couldn't remember his name on yesterday's, which the last 3 days we've had technical problems. I repaired everything. You're not hearing the motorboating anymore in the audio. That was the last 2 days. Some of my engineering friends, well, it's hard to say if they're friends anymore with this show, but it was a power supply problem that I fixed. But going on, Thomas Massie of Kentucky, who had been pushing against U.S. intervention, wrote on X, "This is not constitutional." Representative Warren Davidson, Republican of Ohio, wrote on X, "While President Trump's decision may prove just, it's hard to conceive a rational that's constitutional, that rationale was constitutional. I look forward to his remarks tonight." I think that our stand on not having a nuclear Iran, and Iran has stated that they were not going to produce weapon grade material, and they had, and the technology's there for them to probably build a bomb. You know, there were people said in 2 weeks, but within a year would not be unreasonable, and then they'd have to test it, and then, but they would have built 30 of those bombs and tested the one. If it worked, we got 29 operational, ready to go. And then what do? Because we saw that in North Korea. And a lot of people don't realize how close we were under Bill Clinton of attacking North Korea and taking those sites out. I would say we were minutes away from Clinton giving authorization to attack North Korea nuclear sites. Russia and China, you know, he called them into the mix. And there was a lot of speculation on what happened in those couple of minutes of decision making. My personal belief is that the North Koreans were so sloppy in their nuclear program that there'd be radioactive fallout in China and in Russia, in South Korea, blowing over to Japan, the Philippines, that this might not be a good idea. And, you know, Mr. President, we could work to halt their program. Well, that didn't work. China lied to us. Russia lied to us. North Korea lied to us. And now they have, 60, 70 nuclear devices. And you'll have these Democrats screaming, well, we're not going after North Korea. Well, we lost our opportunity to go after North Korea and to stop them. All right? Also, jumping on the bandwagon with the Democrats, senior Russian officials have stated a new war on Iran will strengthen Khamenei. No. There'll be statues, maybe, that they'll put up, but he's going to be dead. The Kremlin, which has a strategic partnership with Iran, also maintain close links to Israel. And that is true. Russia and Israel have close links in certain areas. Because when radical Islamists were blowing up buildings in Moscow and blowing up subways, it was Mossad that helped helped Russia round up these people that they knew were around and said, listen, all right, we might not get along too well with you, but, these guys blow you up and then they come and blow us up. And it's all being funded through Iran. Now, if you control Iran, you can make this stop. But these are the people that you need to get. And a relationship took place. And Russia will give Israel information that they know will be given to the U.S. and they don't have to deal with the U.S. on it. There's not going to be quid pro quo. And sometimes there is quid pro quo. President Reagan notified Vladimir Putin of an imminent attack by rebels in Russia that were planning massive attacks that they had no idea of. Now, this information was given to us by Mossad, France, MI6, and they all work together. And remember, it's almost like the Five Eyes program, but in the Middle East. And it's a lot more deeper and darker over there. So there was a mutual respect. Hey, you and I can fight, but I'm not going to let that guy ruin our talks or have you do something that is so horrific over there that now I can't talk to you. So, better to lock the fence than try to chase the horses or the bull down. So, they said Trump, who came in as a peacemaker president, has started a new war for the U.S. Trump won't win the Nobel Peace Prize. Well, I don't think Trump was out to win the Nobel Peace Prize. Just saying. And you have Democrats lining up all over the place going after President Trump. But I think once the information gets out there and once the information is confirmed, and even if it's not confirmed, we've been at war with, like I said, Iran since 1979. Jimmy Carter sent our military over there on a rescue mission that failed. No one said anything about that, though the War Powers Act was not in place at that time. Well, maybe it was. 1973? I have to look that up. But no one said anything about that. That was all fine. So this is anything that Trump does. We have a party that just won't stand. No. Trump can breathe out diamonds. And you'd have Democrats going, "What? Diamonds? We need gold." See, he's doing that on purpose. That's to gain himself. And if he was breathing out gold, it would be diamonds or rubies. This is a party that is never, ever going to stand with the president. This is a party that goes my way or no way. The Democrats are not democratic. And I think the American people are going to rally behind the president on this. I think the American people said we were tired of Iran. Death, death, death. We will wipe you out. We will sink your forces. We will put them on the bottom of the ocean. You'll blah, 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 blah. Like a yiping dog. And we took a newspaper and whacked the dog on the nose. And now the dog running to the corner. And this should be a wake-up call for North Korea. You want to keep telling the world how you're going to strike the United States. We will hurt the American people. Yeah, you might want to look at a different approach. You might need to go to your PR people and go, scrap that and give me a new approach. And that new approach might be, what do we got to do to make this guy just 51% happy? Just 51% happy. And you might have to do that with North Korea. You might have to say, listen, if you guys play good over here and stop your threats back and forth, we don't have to hold twice a year missions on attacking you. Cost us money, and we don't like doing it. So, if you go back to the inspections, and if you go back to cranking that rhetoric down, and you have decided now there is going to be no North and South reunification. You're a separate country. We recognize you as a separate country. We'd like to sign a peace accord with you. And these are the terms that both we have terms. And if we want to train South Korean troops here in the United States and on amphibious, we have islands here that are just the same as the coast of Korea that we can train them on. We don't have to do it on their doorstep. And we still will have a military presence there, and we will still protect South Korea. They're under our umbrella. But we don't have to have that umbrella constantly going. And, if you can come up to some arrangements, so can we. And, Trump would rather dump dollars on them than bombs. He's a businessman. All right. That's my opinion, folks. And on this show, my opinion is the only opinion that matters. You listening, Bob? I'm going to call you again today. We were playing phone tag yesterday. All right, so what do we know so far? Pete Hegseth has said on Sunday that U.S. military strikes against Iran nuclear facilities were an incredible and overwhelming success that have obliterated Tehran's nuclear ambitions. Well, until we get eyeballs on it, I don't know if I would truly say all that. The strike included 14 bunker buster bombs, more than 24 Tomahawk missiles, and over 125 military aircraft in an operation that top U.S. General Dan Kane said was named Operation Midnight. I don't know what that means. Meaningless to me. Iran's nuclear ambitions have been obliterated. In a briefing, adding said that strike did not target Iranian troops or people. Well, I am certain there were people guarding those sites. And those were military persons. The operation President Trump planned was bold and it was brilliant, showing the world that America deterrence is back. When this president speaks, the world should listen. Well, okay, because see, that works two ways. And I've said before, I will take a look at both sides of the picture. And even though my opinion counts, this is my opinion too. When you have a president that says he'll do something, that's fine. But it should be phrased in the manner that if you say you're going to attack me, I'm going to take you on your word. And like you said, the world should listen. I'm going to come over there. I'm going to smack you so freaking hard, you won't know what hit you. Now, in that sense, I'm fine with that. Walk softly, carry a big stick. Which everyone attributes that to Teddy Roosevelt, and I think it was actually an African saying, but not in those words, but meaning almost the same thing. Those countries that, if we threaten a country, that country then could go, hey, I'm going to believe you, I'm going to attack you. Or I'm going to attack these people next to me that is you. So it really needs to be paraphrased in a manner that if you are going to threaten me, my assets, my friends, my people, I'm going to take you at your absolute word. Now take me at my absolute word. I will find you, I will hunt you down, and I will dispatch you, which means I will kill you. That's really is what should be genesis of that statement. All right, so a group of elite B-2 Spirit stealth bombers that took flight from Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri early on the morning of the 21st headed to Iran, taking part in the mission to bomb 3 nuclear sites. The B-2s conducted a series of strikes on targets in Iran. There will either be peace. This is in the speech from Donald Trump, President Trump, last night, where he stated there will either be peace or there will be tragedy for Iran. Iran's top living diplomat warned in a post on X that if the U.S. attacks, there'll be everlasting consequences, and that Tehran reserves all options to retaliate. Well, again, we have not seen Iran attack our naval assets. And I would say, speaking as if it was me that was attacked, yeah, all your assets and all those assets that you have, they become fair targets. They become fair targets. And I don't know if Iran has the capability now to do that. I would doubt it that they have the radar emplacements. They might have, a couple of mobile radar things that they can throw up there and light things up and shoot. I don't know how wise that would be, but at that point, what's the difference? We're going to take those consequences, and you will come over here and you'll destroy it. But in the meantime, I might hit a battle group. I might get a lucky shot in. I might harm you. And then the people in America can go, oh, you did this helping Israel. We didn't want to do that. And then they make a whole big deal of it. And believe me, the Democrats are hoping that happens. The Democrats are just hoping and praying that the attack takes place on our Navy and we have losses. Because that gives them something to bite their teeth into. We told you this could happen. The Iranians were just making the Iranians were just making uranium and plutonium to sell on the market. And you blew it up. We don't know what they have there now. You didn't follow the rules. Which he didn't have to follow. There were no rules for this. So, Iran's ambassador to the United Nations called for an emergency Security Council meeting to discuss what he described as the U.S. heinous attack and illegal use of force against Iran. Death to America. We will hurt you in ways. We will destroy you. The desert will drink your blood. Yeah. Yeah, how'd that work out for you? In a letter obtained by the Associated Press, UN's most powerful body takes all necessary measures to hold the U.S. accountable under international law and UN Charter. Yeah. Yep. The UN said that the UN Atomic Energy Watchdog said Iran had violated their commitment not to do and make weapons grade and not to have secret sites. And they had secret sites that inspectors weren't allowed to, and they found enriched plutonium. And this could only mean one thing, that they had the capability of making a nuclear device. And remember, a nuclear device didn't have to be used against Israel. It could have been shot at our naval group. So, you just need one, to hit a naval group and you take out 90% of it. Now Iran would be turned into molten glass. But they might do it, or the threat of them doing it. And you have a people that said, we want to destroy Jews. We want them all killed. And we have seen people who have said that. We have seen that. And again, we're going to take certain people at their word. So, Republican House members line up in support of Trump's actions. United States Congressman Greg Murphy issued a statement. The Islamic Republic of Iran and its terroristic mullahs have been a threat to peace in the Middle East, United States, and the global community for decades. And Iran with a nuclear bomb gives birth to a world in jeopardy of cosmic destruction. President Trump worked to negotiate with the regime in good faith. However, Khamenei overplayed his hand and now must pay the price. May God protect the innocent lives at stake and the United States and Israel's righteous effort to put an end to the grievous bloodshed carried out by Iran and its jihadi proxies. God bless our servicemen safely on their way home tonight. Deliberate and correct decisions to eliminate an existential threat posed by the Iranian regime. Yep. Well done, Mr. President, says Lindsey Graham. Senator Katie Britt called the bombing strong and surgical. Roger Whittaker of the, Roger Wicker of Mississippi, who sits on the Senate Armed Committee chairman, had made a deliberate and correct decision to eliminate the threat posed by the Iranian regime. Now, President Donald Trump and his team were in contact with top congressional Republicans before the strike, but top Democrats were not told of the plan until bombs had dropped, according to multiple people familiar with the plan. Yeah, you know why? Because they would have warned Iran. The Democrats are not the people's friends. They are not the people's friends. They are They're not. They support everything opposite to what President Trump supports and what American voters elected Trump for. So, if you ain't for me, you again me. The two top Republicans in Congress, House Speaker Mike Johnson and Senate Majority Leader John Thune, were both notified. But Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries received notification shortly before the public announcement and after the attack itself. And Senator Mark Warner and Representative Jim Himes, top Democrats on the Senate and House Intelligence Committees, were similarly not told until the strikes had occurred. European leaders. What Iran will do next in terms of a nuclear program is also unclear. Its threat to pull out of the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty hints at a race for a nuclear weapon, but Iran has maintained it has no intentions of doing so. Now, we're going to guarantee that Iran does not have a nuclear program again. And if they do have one, we're sitting on it. So if you want to make plutonium to sell, we'll be there watching you. And if you make 20 pounds of it, 20 pounds must be sold. If you're going to store 20 pounds, it is stored with us, and we watch it. And if someone wants to buy it, we're there to verify. You're not going to siphon it off into a different program. We are going to watch you. And if you want a civilian program running it, with us there too, because that's the only way you're going to do it, because you can't be trusted, so be it. Now, the only other country to announce its withdrawal from NPT is North Korea in 2003. And I said President Bill Clinton wanted to take them out. Because part of our agreement before that, we sent them food, we sent them aid, they were starving, and part of the agreement was that you're going to stay in there. Well, the minute they, that a deal could go away, they just said, F you, bye. Our biggest concern is what we end up with a North Korea scenario whereby these strikes to convince the Iranians that the only way to save the regime is to go for the bomb. Nobody is bombing North Korea now, are they? Said European officials. And because we were stopped and lied to by the Chinese and Russia. Once bitten, twice shy. We're not going to fall for that again. And as crazy as North Korea is, they know darn well that any attack on South Vietnam will turn their country into a puddle. Their regime will be surgically taken out. We know where everyone is. And you might want to stop screaming, you're going to, attack the United States. Because you're dealing with a president that is not going to take that anymore. Even though he likes the leader and he feels he could still go and cut a deal with the leader. Give it a shot. But if they're not going to comply, or they break that treaty, or they pull out of it a year later, we take them out. There is no mercy. Our deal or no deal. That's the way it has to work. All right, that's it. 7 p.m. tonight, I do a live show recap. Hoping this is all going out. It looks like it's all going out. Looks pretty good so far. I'm not getting any weird messages on my live stream, where I have no one watching because I never announce it. This is more of an exercise for me, live streaming. But this is being on my record, and we'll be putting this out shortly. All right. With that, I'm going to say good night. Well, good afternoon. It's actually 11:30, 11:35 a.m. I'll render this show. The 21st show is going up in a matter of minutes. We had some technical problems. I'm going to put that up, followed by the 22nd show, which is episode 85. I said in the beginning of this thing, episode 87, or one of these other shows, 87, because I was thinking of moving 2 of my live shows into the playlist of video, and I decided not to. Just keep them down there. Join my YouTube channel, please, if you're watching. Become a subscriber. It's free. Doesn't cost anything. I do not monetize my show. I ask for nothing. And we will be going over into Facebook, but Facebook's funny. X and some of these other platforms where I can upload shows to and put them out and expose more. You could always reach me at fatcatproductions.com. That's cat spelled with a K. Fat, all one word, fatcatproduction.com. And the website is still under construction a little bit, but it gives you everything you need to know and a means to contact me. And I'm going to have other links. Next Sunday, if I start pushing this, I will have a call-in. You can call in, or you can chat. Haven't decided which way to go. I might go with chat first before I spend a few $100 on an audio system to capture phone calls. So, but we shall see. And donate to a charity if you can. Charity does begin at home. I understand that. Give to a food bank. If, like I say, if just 500 people gave 4 cans a week to a food bank locally in their communities, look at that. And I understand 4 cans of food to me not going to change anything. But 4 cans of food to someone who needs food, that can change everything. So think about that for a minute. Think about that, what is $20 going to do for me? But that $20 might end up going to someone who needs that to put in their gas tank to go for a job. Or maybe go to Goodwill and buy a shirt and a nice pair of pants to go on an interview and get a job. And that $20 that I gave to a charity that helped that person, it was nothing. It was a lotto ticket. But to that person, that was a door. That was a gateway for them to help themselves. So we have to look at it that way. And I think even Bob in New York would not disagree with me. Like I said, he is just holding a beer cap, just waiting to wail it at me. All right. Say a prayer. Prayer does work. And with that, I'll see you tonight at 7 p.m. on my show. I'm going to go now fade to black, end the program.